Do you know the average number of visas that get rejected every year by the UK government? Well, the current number nearly stands at 16%. So that just means that for every 100 people who are applying for visas month on month or year basis, about 16 of them get their visas rejected. Now, it doesn't matter if you are a student or tourist or you're coming on work visa. If you are looking to apply for your visa in the next year or even in the next few years, then all of these reasons are going to be valid for you. But also remember that I'm going to be suggesting some really good points. So in case you are looking forward to not getting a visa rejection, this video is the absolute must watch for you right now. But for those of y'all who do not know me, my name is Nikita and I make videos related to life in the UK, working as a healthcare profession, clearing those interviews and landing your dream job. So if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, now's your turn to do so, guys. But let's get right into one of the first reasons for your visa rejection. So one of the first reasons for visa rejection is submitting an incomplete or a wrong information form for your visa. Now, obviously, as I've explained this before, submitting your visa application form is a very easy process, and all of y'all can do that from the Government of UK website. And I will leave the link for that in the description box below. You just need to find the appropriate visa category for which you're applying. However, when you fill out this form, do remember that it's a very lengthy form, so there's quite a lot of information for you to put in under it. Now, even if you have basic English, you can absolutely do the form by yourself. However, because it is so lengthy, you need to remember that all of the details that you submit on the visa application form need to match either the passport or the documents that you are submitting. If there is a problem where the document does not match the information you submitted on the form, there's a high chance of your visa being rejected. Now, for example, when I made my first student visa application, I made a silly mistake of writing my mother's name a little differently, and I did not even check that until I actually went in to sort of go for the visa appointment. But when before I even stepped in, I had a look at it and realized there was a mistake. At that point, I did not proceed forward with my visa appointment. I actually cancelled my visa application at that stage, went back home, redid a new form, and then reapplied for my visa. Now, what happens in that case is obviously that my process got delayed slightly, but it ensured a chance of my visa coming through without any problems, because then I made sure that my mother's name was written correctly in my visa application form as well, which was really crucial at that stage. Now, again, another question that obviously many of you all would have at this point is, Nikita, if you did that, was the visa money refunded? And the answer is yes, the visa money was refunded to me. The IHS charges was also refunded. And remember, guys, that this is something you need to check with the VFS office if you are in India. So do not forget to give that a big check before you sort of apply for, maybe canceling your appointment and getting a refund. Now, the second reason for your visa being rejected is insufficient proof of funds. Now, it doesn't matter again which visa you're coming under, whether it's the skilled worker visa, whether it's the health and care worker visa, whether it's even your student visa or your tourist visa. On whichever visa you come in, you need to have certain proof of funds to show that you will be able to support yourself once you are in the UK. Now, again, if that is a tourist visa, depending upon the number of days for which you're planning to come into the UK, that amount may vary. Also, if you're a student visa, depending upon the length of your course, that amount is going to vary. So I would say whenever you make the application, you will obviously go through all of the details related to the application. Do go through how much it is that you need to have within your bank accounts to show before you make your application, and make sure that you have held it within your bank account for the said number of days, which is usually up to 28 days. Because the most common reason for you to not have a visa for the UK is because you have insufficient proof of funds. And that just means that the amount of money is not present in your account. Now, again, the amounts can look slightly different for those who are applying for work visas along with your dependents. So please, guys, do go through all of the requirements on the visa website, so on the gov.uk website. And always remember, the amounts displayed on the gov.uk website are always in pounds. So always keep a little bit of extra margin if your currency is different. So for example, for India, the current rate that's obviously going is around 102 rupees for every single pound. But keep in mind that that sort of rate can go higher or lower during your visa application. So always have that sort of extra money just in case that rate goes higher or lower for yourselves. And obviously, you need to show that these sort of proof of funds are present in your bank account through either your bank statement or a letter from your bank. So make sure that all of this is documented really clearly on the bank letter and on your bank statements before you even go to the visa office. And if you are not able to show this document and to show this proof of funds within your bank account, there is a high risk of you not being granted a UK visa for whatever reason possible. The next reason for your visa to be rejected is not having a good enough reason for you to visit the UK. Now, obviously, if you are coming on a tourist visa, you need to have things like your itinerary in place and obviously where you are going to live and things like that already in your visa application, because that is something that they might ask for. But if you are coming for work visa, what's really important is that you have your letter of employment with either your certificate of sponsorship or maybe even an unconditional offer letter, which suggests that so and so company is sponsoring your visa to come and work in the UK. Now, again, if you are a student, you need to have something known as your CAS letter and a university letter to show that you are a student who will be studying in a particular university in the UK. All of these form really important documents which the UK Home Office will definitely look at when they are sort of reviewing your application for your visas. So please always make sure that you've submitted relevant documentation which recommends or which sort of says why is it important that you visit the UK or you start living in the UK. Now, the next reason is having incomplete documentation for your UK visa. Now, whenever you go to fill the UK visa form, you will receive something known as a document checklist. Now, this document checklist clearly states all of the important documents that you need to submit during your visa application, and it is crucial that you submit all of these documents without any fail. Now, many people obviously are very confident with their visa applications and will not go through this checklist. They will make really silly mistakes and not submit a crucial document that's needed, and this is one of the highest reasons for your visa to be rejected. So what I would say is clearly go through that document checklist. If it has asked for your bank statement for the last 3 months, make sure that you are giving your bank statement for the last 3 months. If there's any other requirement on that particular document like checklist saying maybe you need a letter from the bank, make sure that you've actually gone and collected the letter from the bank. But always make sure that you've read the document checklist, prepared all of your documents in that sort of order that is asked for, so that you can submit your visa application in a very clear, concise way. Now, the next reason is again related to the documents, and that is submitting the documents in the incorrect order. Now, obviously, like I said before, the document checklist has a list of all of the documents that you need to submit for the visa application. But what you need to remember is that this document checklist has all of the documents in a specific order that is recommended. And you would say, Nikita, it's a very silly reason for them to reject your visa application just because the order is not right. And you might think so, but however, there are several government officials within the Home Office or within the UK immigration offices who would recommend that you submit your visa documents within the specified order on your document checklist, just so that it avoids any sort of confusion for them at a later stage. The next reason is insufficient proof of relationship. Now, obviously, there are many of us who apply for our dependents to come and join us in the UK, whether it's on your work visa or any other visa. Now, if you are not able to establish your sort of proof of relationship with the main applicant of the work visa, there are high chances of your visa being rejected. So, for example, if you are a spouse joining your husband or wife in the UK, you need to show that you have a marriage certificate and several other documents that are required for you in order to make sure that your relationship is legitimate and legal in front of the UK government. If you are unable to provide these proof of relationship, and if the UK government finds something suspicious or they do not trust that whatever you've submitted is valid, there are high chances of your visa being rejected. The next reason for obviously any work or student visa rejection is criminal records. Now, obviously, when you do the visa application form, there are going to be very specific questions related to your supporting any sort of terrorist activity or you having any criminal records. And I have seen so many people think that it's absolutely fine, no one's going to have a look at that, let's just fill whatever we want. And they do not submit the right information in those columns. Now, obviously, if you submit things saying that you do not have a criminal record, but you actually do have one, and the UK Home Office during its visa application checks does find that, that can lead to a direct visa rejection in your favor. So that's why whenever you're sort of filling out that format, be aware that you need to make sure that you have submitted the actual correct information. If you do have a criminal record, do state that, because the UK Home Office is actually going to look at that, and if they find it and you haven't declared it on your visa application, they will feel like you are being dishonest in your visa application, and that is sort of grounds for them to reject your visa application. So make sure that whenever they ask you these questions, do answer it truthfully. Another sort of point is usually towards the end of the visa application, they will also ask you if there is any sort of reason or if there is any sort of recent past history where you've been rejected a UK visa or visa from several other countries such as Australia or Canada, etc. And again, a lot of people will think that that's fine to sort of not mention that I've been banned from maybe the US. But I would say that you definitely need to mention anything that has happened. So if you are banned from another country or from the UK itself in the past application, make sure that you've added that information into your visa into your visa application form, just because remember that the UK Home Office does maintain a database and it has several connections with all of these countries to make sure that all of the submissions that you have provided on your visa application are truthful and honest. So do not lie on your visa application if you have any criminal record or conviction against you. Now, just to clarify some other points related to work visa, because I know many of y'all out there will be applying on skilled worker visa or the health and care worker visa. So, just for those of y'all who are applying for this, my first recommendation would obviously be go through the checklist and make sure that you've submitted all of the documents that are required, including proof of funds and proof of relationship, especially if you are getting your spouses or children with you. The second thing I want to recommend is make sure that you always have a valid COS, that is a COS, or the letter of sponsorship along with your visa application, because this is going to be really crucial in your visa process, because it's a company or it's the employer that is sponsoring you and that is looking forward to getting you to the UK. Another question that I know will spring up in many people's minds is that, Nikita, when you are on the health and care worker visa, do you really need to show proof of funds? And the answer is it depends on your employer. So when you are having a conversation with your employer or the HR of that particular NHS trust, do make sure that you let them know about if you do not have funds to sort of show for your visa application, because some NHS trusts can actually tick that box of saying that they are happy to provide your proof of funds for you, and in that case you then do not need to show any proof of funds for your visa application. But make sure that this is something that is discussed with your HR before you submit your visa application, so that you are aware about what is the proof of funds that you need to show for your particular visa application. Now, another reason for visa rejection is not submitting proof of English language. Now, do remember, whether you're a student or whether you're coming for work visa, you will have to show proof of English language. Now, that can be done using your IELTS certificate, which is something that I do recommend. However, remember, if you are coming for sort of different reasons, so for example, student versus work, there are going to be different requirements for your IELTS. So if you're coming for student visa alone, then your requirement is highly sort of academic. So you need to give an academic IELTS for you to be able to successfully land your student visa in the UK. Whereas for work, these requirements are different. And I will again leave the link for that in the description box below. So if you are concerned about it, make sure that you've read the link in the description before you actually give your IELTS and go for your visa applications and move forward in the process. But that's it for today's video, guys. I have obviously made this video using a lot of my previous collective information and knowledge. And if you found it useful, do not forget to share it with someone who needs it right now or in the future. But I hope you liked this video, guys. Take care. Bye.